right, what's up, guys? So the more solo episodes I do, the more feedback I get from people saying you should do more solo episodes. And to tell you the truth, that's always been kind of weird to me because I'm literally sitting in my bedroom with my podcast studio set up on the nightstand, and I just sit here and share my thoughts and talk about different things. But what I find is it impacts people, and I get a lot of positive feedback. And so I guess I'll start doing a little more of these. But regardless of what you prefer, this show, it's very similar to how I run my Jiu-Jitsu Academy. People ask, like, what hours are available, and would you be open to running this class? Would you be open to running that class? The truth is, I just let it organically grow and develop for what it is, and the needs of the team will dictate how I run my Jiu-Jitsu Academy. And so I take a similar approach to this. The needs of the Endless Endeavor listeners and the desires of the Endless Endeavor listeners will always have an impact on what direction this show takes, what guests I have on, and just kind of enjoy the journey for what it is and adjust accordingly. So the first thing I wanted to tell you guys today is YouTube has been a shit show, and our overwhelming majority of listeners are through Apple and Spotify and the big podcast platforms. But we had a small YouTube presence. I think we had I don't even know, 3,000 subscribers or something. So nothing crazy, but it's still, that's 3,000 people that consume this podcast via YouTube. And we've been shut down we got shut down for about 6 weeks for various violations. They said I'm spreading misinformation, and I was on a suspension for my first strike. And then literally the day I got off of that suspension, I put up another video and I got another strike for medical misinformation. It just lets you guys know how much bullshit we're facing as a society, because I don't put out any misinformation, period. I'm not, and if you guys listen to the show, you probably know me, you know how I roll. I don't claim to be right about fucking anything, but I am open to discussions on a wide range of topics. I give people platforms. I allow people to share their thoughts, their perspectives. And a lot of the guests on this show that I've had over the last, we're coming up on 14 months or whatever, they may not be in alignment with the mainstream narrative. But as soon as you have to squish out people that are in opposition of you, what does that tell you? That right there, in my opinion, gives those people a little bit of validity, because misinformation and lies and scandals and people that are agenda driven, you don't have to stomp those people out, because a light will inevitably be shined on those people, and you will see them for who they are and what they're about. And so when you see these tech giants canceling everybody, shutting accounts down, and suspending YouTube users like they did with me, it immediately makes you realize, oh, fuck. So something that my guest said scared them. It's not because they didn't delete my episodes because it's misinformation. They deleted those episodes because what was being put out was solution-based conversations, and that scares our opposition. And so I will not stop allowing my guests to say whatever the fuck they want on the show, regardless if I agree with it or I don't. And so inevitably we will be kicked off of YouTube. They told us that I have one more warning, and then you're off. Permanently, we're going to permanently delete your channel if you violate our user policy one more time. And it's go fuck yourself. Do they really think that people are going to adjust their behavior because YouTube doesn't like what I'm saying or what my guests are saying? Go fuck yourself. It's insanity. But here we are, and I'm about to lose my YouTube. And the reason I bring it up is because we have now started a Rumble, and it's the Endless Endeavor podcast on Rumble. From what I understand, that platform does not censor to the degree that YouTube does. I've heard they do some censoring, and I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with it. I haven't experienced any of it personally, but regardless, it's definitely a freer network than YouTube is, because YouTube is Google and it's just the big tech fucking conglomerate of disgusting human beings. And that, I mean, fuck, dude. Let me put this out there. If any of the listeners have an intimate understanding of why big tech has decided to side with tyranny and fucking medical tyranny and has sided with the side that wants to strip your liberties and take your freedoms away and make you a fucking slave. If anyone has an intimate understanding of why they're doing that, fucking write me. Greg Anderson podcast at gmail.com. And if your conclusions that you draw seem to have validity and seem to make sense, I'll have you on the show. Because that's something that's kind of perplexing to me. You have people like Bill Gates and Bezos and Dorsey and Zuckerberg. These dudes have more fucking money than you can shake a stick at. So what is the incentive for them to side with the likes of Pelosi and Biden and Harris? I mean, those people are fucking completely inept human beings that shouldn't even be put in charge of a fucking McDonald's, but they're running our country. And it's shocking to me that these multi-billionaire tech gurus are in alignment with them. I'm sure there's some nexus that I'm not connecting, but what do they hope to get out of aligning with the worst part of our society and our politically elite class? Elon Musk seems to be on the side of right. And I'll have people saying, oh, that's fucking bullshit. He's a sleeper and he's this. And you know what? Everybody has their theory. I'm just basing it off of when I listen to him speak, when I look at him speak, he doesn't have those evil, beady little eyes and that face that just says, fuck you, like a lot of those cocksuckers do. And I can't necessarily articulate exactly what it is about these people, but they're the people that are trying to hold us down, not even on a national level, on a global level. You can look at their face and you can know something's off. You just do. When you look at Fauci, you know something's off. And, I've spoke about this a lot as someone that I don't claim to be the most intelligent person in the world, but I do think I have a decent amount of street smarts and common sense, and I can read people, and that served me well my entire life. And there's a lot of people in our elite ruling class that when you look at them, the little bells and whistles are going off saying, that's a fucking piece of shit. That's a person that could probably use their head caved in by a boulder. And I think that is just literally generation after generation after generation of survival. The human being has figured out an intuition that we can't even necessarily articulate, or we don't even necessarily understand, kind of maybe a sixth sense. But if somebody is good or somebody is bad. I think that's an inherent skill set that a lot of human beings possess, or dogs possess it, even at a stronger level. How many people out there, if you're on a hike and your dog instantly hates somebody, does that make you question that person, that person's safety, or if you can trust that person? I've heard that story a lot, and it's going to depend on your dog, obviously. But like for me, I have a small Jack Russell. Actually, for a Jack Russell, he's a fucking giant. I think he's like 26 pounds, but he loves everybody. And there's been a couple instances where I come across someone and he fucking hates them. And it immediately makes you think, all right, motherfucker, what skeletons do you have in the closet? But yeah, that's something that I think we need to trust. That's an intuition that is built into us for survivability. So do not ignore that. Do not ignore that when you feel that sense of something being off or something being wrong. I mean, I don't care if you're fucking walking groceries out to your car at the Safeway parking lot and somebody passes you. If you get that feeling, listen to that feeling and know that it's there for a reason. And I mean, the spectrum goes all the way from people that are fucking paranoid about everything to people that trust everybody. It's a dichotomy, just like everything else in life, right? So you have to find the balance. But what I would say is this: never ignore it. Do not ignore the gift of your intuition. I've read fascinating books about this. Gavin DeBecker. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's a big time security specialist that runs teams nationwide for protecting high profile athletes and actors, and I think he has contracts with the government as well. But he wrote a book called The Gift of Fear, and it's a fascinating book, and it's talking about these exact things. If somebody is giving you that vibe that makes you feel uncomfortable, there's a reason. And because there's a reason, now you have to trust it. And, this is what I tell when I've had women ask me about self-defense seminars. And I will always tell you, a self-defense seminar is pretty much pointless, useless, and a waste of your time and a waste of your money. Because if you want to build capability as a fighter, okay, if you're learning self-defense, that means you are looking at becoming proficient at a physical altercation. The truth is you cannot develop any type of proficiency in a physical altercation in a 2-hour block of instructions on Saturday morning. I feel like if I had a group of women that were untrained, especially if they were not athletes to start with, maybe they're out of shape, maybe they're maybe they're stay-at-home moms and their majority of their day is spent driving kids around and going to soccer and grocery shopping and doing the things that a lot of parents find themselves getting caught up in. And maybe they've neglected their personal health. Maybe they've neglected their diet. Maybe they've neglected any type of martial arts or self-defense training. The right answer to turn that around is not 2 hours on a Saturday morning. The right answer is commit to 90 days of training and eating clean. If you commit to 90 days of training and eating clean, you will see substantial improvements. I tell people all the time that want to try jiu-jitsu out. I said the first month, you're going to feel like a fish flopping around on the beach. It's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be awkward. It's not going to make sense. And because it doesn't make sense and it's awkward, some people develop an aversion to it. So allow yourself the time to work through that phase of uncomfortableness and not understanding how your body works in relation to a physical altercation. And that's when you will start to develop capability. Capability is not a 2-hour seminar Saturday morning. Now, the reason I went down that rabbit hole to start with is because in Gavin DeBecker's book, one thing that he says about people who are women in particularly, women who are attacked or violently raped. And this isn't the scenario of an ex-boyfriend is drinking with his girlfriend, or a boyfriend's drinking with a girl that they broke up with the night before, and they get drunk and have sex, and now she feels like she was raped. I'm not giving that guy a pass. Okay. A fucked up situation is a fucked up situation. Every single one of them has, their story. But these instances that he is referencing is like girl jogging on the fucking trail and some psychopath jumps out and grabs her. No previous relationship, no knowledge of each other, just a crime of opportunity. He interviewed hundreds of women that were victims of sexual assaults, and 100% of them said they felt something was off before the attack transpired. So think about that. 100% of them. I mean, that's not like, like 90% of women felt. No. From what he has looked into in his study and his data, 100% of people that are violently attacked and sexually assaulted felt something off. And that is our gift, what he calls the gift of fear. That is your intuition. And that is why you need to listen to it. Now, the way that I tie this all back together with self-defense seminars is because I have had ladies come to me and say, hey, I'd like to learn this, or I'd like to learn that. And what I tell them is what I can offer you in an hour more than teaching you how to shrimp to guard and sweep someone and then get back to your base and flee. Like that's a very simple combination of moves if you train. If you don't, it's a fucking nightmare to try and master in a morning. And so I tell them, I said, the thing that you can develop in a morning more than a technical ability, what you can develop in a morning is a mindset or a commitment to yourself. And these commitments to yourself puts you in a class of people that are more confident and less likely to be victimized, because these people are looking for the weakest link. They're not going to see you walking with your chest high and your shoulders back, looking fit, looking strong, looking determined, and say, that's the person I'm going to attack today. That's the opposite of what they're going to do. They're going to say, let that one walk on by and we'll wait for the next one. There was a incident that happened in San Diego. And this one, you know how like certain news stories just kind of haunt you. And this one did. And this was a fucking sexual predator that abducted a girl who was running on like a fucking some park down near north of San Diego. And he raped and he killed her. And it was a pretty young girl. She was like 17. And I remember just watching the story, looking at pictures of this guy. Again, I look into his eyes and I see someone that I want to smash their skull open with a fucking sledgehammer. That's the emotions that I get when I see that person. So you know that he's just an evil motherfucker. But the interesting thing about this story was the girl that he raped and killed was the second girl he attacked that day. The first girl he attacked that day trained Muay Thai, and she blasted him a couple times and turned around and ran. And you'll always hear people say, oh, the girl can't beat a guy in a fight. If you were to put them in an octagon together and say fight to the death, I would agree with you. He would probably win more times than not. Now, I'm not saying that a trained girl will not beat an untrained guy, because they will. But there is size and strength and aggression and testosterone. All these things play a role in how an altercation is going to play out. But what it did do is it gave her the initiative. It surprised him, put him back on his heels, and gave her the opportunity to create enough distance and turn around and flee. So now that perpetrator has to ask, is this something I'm willing to pursue? Do I want a fight? Or do I want to look for the next weakest link? And he chose the next weakest link. So, yeah, man, when I see people like that, I think, you know what? I bet everybody could agree with this on both sides of the spectrum, outside of just beta cuck fuckers. People like that should be put on pay-per-view, and they should have to fight a guy like Cain Velasquez to the death. It would make millions of dollars, and it would be the most violent and satisfying way to watch men that victimize people be victimized in the most horrific manner until they fucking die. And I think that would warm my heart to watch. People that don't train probably can't grasp what a person like Cain Velasquez can do to another human being. But I can tell you, I know guys, world championship level black belts that train with him, and even they say it's a fucking nightmare. And so, yeah, that's how we should fucking solve those problems. But we got a lot to talk about today, and I figured I'd just kind of have fun with it and take this show whatever direction it goes, and kind of touch on some current events that are going on worldwide. And just kind of see where it goes. But, if you're watching the news, I'm recording this on November 29th. So Thanksgiving was last Thursday. I know I got like a 2-week time period between when I record and when it's dropped. But they're saying that looting is back. Looting stores is back for Black Friday. And you have to ask yourself, is this the media triggering us? Were 2 stores looted? Or is this just the continuation of the parts of our society that can't fucking seem to understand how to integrate themselves with other human beings? And I'm sick of talking about this as a left versus right issue, or it's Democrats, it's Republicans. No, motherfuckers. It's motherfuckers out there that break into your store, your shop, and take your belongings and somehow think that now they have become theirs. And it's bigger than just theft, in my opinion, because if you go into a store and you want a pair of shorts and you tuck a pair of shorts in under your shirt and you walk out with it, okay, yeah, you're doing a shitty thing. And if you get caught, you should get in trouble. And that's how the law has worked since the beginning of time, until 2 years ago when we just decided that people can commit crimes and we're not going to fucking do anything to them. But what's worse about looting, in my opinion, is they're saying, I'm right here. I'm coming into your fucking store. I'm going to smash my way in. I'm going to take what I want from you. And there's not a fucking thing you're going to do about it. That is a very different thing than somebody taking something that they desire. It's aggressive. It's brazen. And if you own a store and you let that happen to your establishment, shame on you. That's your fault. That's nobody else's fault. The biggest thing that people in this country need to start doing is standing up for themselves, standing up for their beliefs, their property, their livelihoods. Are we supposed to just sit back and let people come into your store and take your shit and walk out? And I know what people are saying. Well, what do you want them to do? If they do anything, they're going to get in trouble. That's right. If they do anything, they'll probably get in trouble because the law is so fucking backwards in this country that it won't do anything when tax-paying business owners are being victimized. But you go fuck those dudes up, now you're the one that's in trouble. You're the one that's going to get fucking held to the fire. The Rittenhouse trial is a perfect example of that. But just because you know the system is broken, and just because you know that they might come after you, so what? So fucking what? And so, I go back and forth on this stuff because there's a part of me that wanted to go downtown Seattle when it was burning and people were looting and bring my AR and bring my body armor. And I've talked about this on the show before. My wife and I sat down, we had a good conversation, and she helped me come to the conclusion that it's not my job to defend everybody else that's willing to just flee from their business and let it burn. That's their fucking job. And if they're not willing to risk their own safety for their own business, why should I? Why should I have to be the one that does that? And to tell you the truth, I don't know what the exact correct answer is, because on one hand, we should have the most capable men in society, which I hope to still be, at least for another few years before Father Time catches up. We should be able to rely on the capable to defend the incapable. But everything shouldn't fall on their shoulders either. If people aren't willing to step up and defend their own stuff and their own livelihoods. And so when people will just roll over and they will let these entities, be it Antifa, BLM, or even the corruption going on with the vaccine and the mandates, if you will allow an outside entity to just roll over you and chew you up and spit you out, and you won't fucking stand up on your own 2 feet and say, I'm done. I'm done with this. This is the hard line I'm drawing. If you're not willing to do that, maybe you don't deserve to have a business. Maybe you don't deserve to enjoy prosperity that is offered here in America because you're a fucking weakling. If you're not willing to defend what is rightfully yours from other people taking it, maybe you don't deserve to have it. I'm not condoning any of this stuff. And if it ever comes to my gym, you'll see fucking 1,000 dead bodies out front if that's what it takes. But at the same time, how much longer can a small minority of people be expected to protect the masses? And I think it may be a byproduct of everybody relying on cops for so long. You got any problem, dial 911 and somebody's coming to save you. Someone breaks into your car, 911, someone's coming to save you. Someone's breaking into your house, you pick up your phone and someone is coming to save you. And I think this is the first time, at least in my lifetime, when there's elements of society that are understanding no one is fucking coming to save you. I enjoy that headspace. The thought of nobody coming to save me kind of excites me. Oh, you mean it's on me now? That's how it always should have fucking been. But for a lot of aspects of society, no one is coming to save you. It's terrifying. It's paralyzing. And it puts people in this state of fear. And it's sad. It's sad because if more people would simply stand up for what they know is right, our problems are gone, people. They are gone. You want to talk about political corruption? If we would stand up to these motherfuckers, it's over. You want to talk about looting? If we stand up to these motherfuckers, it's over. You want to talk about vaccine mandates, and we're going to have to, your 4-year-old daughter to go to preschool next year is going to have to get the shot. And if you don't like that, we're going to drop you from our healthcare plan. Fuck you. If everybody would say fuck you collectively, it would have ended years ago. Or what are we at, 20 months now? I made my video May of 2020. I was ready to say fuck you right out of the gates. The whole reason I made the video is because I thought if cops see one cop standing up, it'll be contagious. I always say courage is contagious. It didn't have the effect that I hoped for. You know, I talked to Mitch Aguiar, who's become one of my best friends through this whole crazy pandemic that's just overtaken our society for the last 20 months. And Mitch had 375,000 followers on Instagram. And because he had a big platform, he felt obligated to use his voice for good. And by good, I mean freedom. You do you, I'll do me. And people that are doing nefarious shit and people that are fucking taking backdoor deals and politicians that are being dirty and corrupt, he would use his platform to put them on blast. Same thing with all the COVID vaccine bullshit. He would use his platform to put these people on blast. And he did it for a year and a half until all his platforms have been crushed. He's been deplatformed. His Instagram is gone. He's down and he's tried to rebuild it back up. And I think he's at 26,000 followers. That's nothing. That's nothing compared to where he was at. But this is the thing that people need to realize. He doesn't need everybody to fucking stand up and fight for their freedom. Mitch is already a self-made man. His business is flourishing. He's doing extremely well for himself. He wasn't doing that for him. He was doing that for everybody else. Because he could have just, hey, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to shine a light on this. I'm just going to promote smashing greens, keep doing my fitness challenges on IG, and continue to make money. But he didn't do that because he felt it was important. And when you feel something as important as the trajectory of our country, you'll sacrifice a lot to try and change that trajectory if you think it's going in a poor direction. And he's done that. When you have a business that's directly related to online advertising, online sales, all that stuff, losing a 400,000 person platform, that's fucking tough. That's tough. And so, him and I talk about this. It's like, what do we do moving forward? Do we still try and instill like confidence and tell people to stand up for what they believe and tell people to resist and fight back and have a voice? Or are people going to do what they're going to do? And you can sit here in front of this mic, or Mitch can sit there on the Mitch Show on live IG and say all the things that he is hoping will impact people. But at the end of the day, are people just going to do what they're going to do? There's a part of me that's coming to that conclusion that thinks maybe you can't shift people too far one way or the other. People are going to have their beliefs, and people are going to dig their heels in on whatever side that they have determined to be just and correct. But can you inspire people to really, truly go outside of their comfort zone, stand up and say, fuck you, we're done? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. I don't know. The more I think about it, I start to wonder, like, how contagious is courage? Is it something that we're inherently born with? We have a certain amount? Or can you hone it? Can you strengthen it just like you can your intelligence or your fitness? I don't know. I go back and forth. So, yeah, we're in weird times because no matter what the issue is, there's two opposing sides that hate each other. And I don't know what the solution is. I watched Matthew McConaughey talk on his Instagram last night, talking about we need unity and we need leadership. And when I hear him talk, I agree. And I think he's a cool person. He'd probably be fun to hang out with. But can we have unity when we have two totally different mindsets that seem to be high-speed freight trains that are moving away from each other at a rapid rate of speed? I mean, to think that there's two sides to the Rittenhouse trial is shocking to me. It's shocking when we have a sitting president who publicly says, that's not the verdict I was hoping for. That's not the verdict I was hoping for, but I guess we're just going to have to accept the jury's verdict. Yeah, you're right, motherfucker. You are going to have to accept the jury's verdict because that's how the judicial system works in America. And what a pompous cocksucker you are to use your platform to try and act like that was the wrong verdict. Because that was the verdict. I watched a lot of that trial. And it was kind of a public spectacle. And you got a bunch of people saying, oh, it's just a smoke and mirror to cover up the Maxwell trial. Well, the Rittenhouse trial was fully adjudicated with the verdict delivered before the Maxwell trial even began. So people, relax. Not every last fucking aspect of your life has to be some fucking conspiracy theory. Do I think that the Maxwell trial will not get the attention that we hope that it gets? I do. I think big tech and media is, like we already discussed, this show is in bed with the wrong side. But also know this, in federal court, you cannot have cameras and you cannot take pictures or video. That's how it's always been. So the Maxwell trial will not feel like a soap opera like the Rittenhouse trial did. It's a state level trial versus a federal trial. They're different things. So comparing them is like comparing apples and oranges. Two different things. But I do agree that trial will not get the attention that it deserves. And it's starting today. Today's Monday, the 29th. So we'll see what happens with the trial. But my point in comparing and contrasting those two things is that the Rittenhouse trial, it's a very different thing than that. The Rittenhouse trial was one young man who was tasked, okay? He didn't just come up with this idea. There was a local car dealership, and if you guys follow the trial, you know all this, that car lots were having their fucking shit looted and burned to the ground. And so some local car lots said, hey, we need to have people providing protection. So I'm going to hire some people. And these car lots found a handful of men, and in his case, a boy. He was 17. And you can say, they're supposed to have police there and it's not his responsibility. All the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. The fact is, businesses were having their shit looted and stolen and burned. And just like I said at the beginning of the episode, that's your fucking responsibility. You want to sit back and just wait for the system to save you? No one's going to. So figure it the fuck out. And that's what this car lot did. Said, no one's coming to save us. You know, car lots are getting burned to the fucking ground. So let's put together a team of people to defend our shit. And if anyone thinks that's unreasonable, you have your head up your own fucking ass. I bet it'd be real reasonable if it was your house or your business that was going to get burned to the ground. And so a team of people defended that position. And this car lot owner had a couple different locations. And Rittenhouse saw another location with a car burning. So they'd got to one of the cars. And one of the guys on his team called him and said, hey, take an extinguisher and put that fire out. So he was running to that scene. And that fucking vile pedophile rapist started chasing him. Started grabbing him. Tried to take his weapon away. And he fucking dumped him. Okay. The fact that was even prosecuted, motherfuckers should be prosecuted for that. I've sat through more prosecutions than I can remember. I've never seen a prosecutor that was that inept. That motherfucker, it was as clear as day that he didn't have a case, and he was on what we call a fishing expedition, just hoping things would kind of come to fruition during the trial. You know, he'd have these little aha, I gotcha moments, hoping like, oh, I'm going to sway the jury with that one. Mr. Rittenhouse, is it true that your TikTok username is 4 doors and more whores? Yes, it is. Like shit like that. Not even relevant to the case. A 17-year-old kid. Well, a 17-year-old boy doesn't think whore would be fun. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know? But that case was prosecuted in a manner that I've never, ever seen before. And the reason that it was is because they never had a case to start with. You saw that other guy take the stand, and they're like, so is it true that you pointed a pistol at Mr. Rittenhouse, and when you did that, that's when he turned and shot you? And he goes, oh, that is correct, yes. Like, that motherfucker should be the one getting prosecuted. But nope. We live in fucking a clown world where everything's fucking backwards. And we've come to a place in society where there's a percentage of the country that thinks he should go to jail for what he did. There's a percentage of the country that thinks he's a white supremacist. He's a white supremacist. He's a white kid that shot 3 white people. But because there's motherfuckers out there that are just so gullible, and just waiting to be led around like the fucking sheep that they are. That CNN said he's a white supremacist, so he was at a BLM rally, so he must be a white supremacist. You want to know something, motherfuckers? He had a med kit on him, and he treated some people that were protesters. He was going through EMT school. He thought it'd be, hey, yeah, I can help people. I can bandage up fucking boo-boos, and I can fucking put splints on, or whatever level of proficiency he was at as a EMT cadet. He was helping people. He was walking around the crowd saying, does anyone need a medic? Does anyone need any medical help? I mean, fuck, 17-year-old boy doing that stuff. I think it's impressive. And I'm glad that he walked. And if you think that he shouldn't have, go fuck yourself. Unsubscribe, because you're fucking stupid. It's fucking ridiculous that even happened. But yeah, so the Maxwell trial, let's see where it goes. I don't think that we are going to get the results that we want out of that. I've heard there was a witness that was supposed to testify that had a lot of information on high profile people that partook in their fucking sex trafficking, and they have decided to not bring her to the stand. Things like that. So we'll see where it goes. But I don't want to get too caught up in the conspiracy theories until they become a reality. Because as we all know, it's 2021 and we're running out of conspiracy theories because they're all coming true, right? And so a couple other things that I want to talk about on this episode is to do the diet that I just put myself through. And I've gotten lots and lots of emails, people asking about, dude, what did you do? How many calories did you eat? What was your macro split? How many ounces of this were you eating? How many ounces of that were you eating? And so let me just unpack this a little bit. The whole reason that I did the 40 days of apples, steak, and eggs and water, the whole reason that I did that diet is because I fucking hate weighing food. I hate counting calories. I hate having a macro split that I have to follow, meaning a percentage of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins that I have to monitor throughout the day. I hate all that stuff. And what I found is when I try and do those things, I inevitably fail just because I don't care. Now, are there bodybuilders that get down to 4% body fat because they do all that stuff and it works for them? Yes, of course. If you're one of those people that operates well in that type of routine, cool. But for me, less is more, meaning the simpler I make it, the more success I'm going to have. Now, there's a difference between simple and the simple concept and simple implementation. I think the concept is simple, but implementing it takes a decent amount of discipline. For 40 days, I ate 3 foods. I did not give myself any other parameters outside of that. I could eat as many steak, eggs, or apples as I wanted, but that was it. Not one other bite of food from any other source, period. And dude, after 40 days, I got fucking ripped. It worked. I lost almost the majority of my body fat that I was hoping to lose as a result. And I looked and I felt good. And that should be the metric that you are using for your diet. You know, like, I don't care about what the dial calibers read body fat percentage. I don't care about what the scale says. I care about how do I look? How do I feel? And you know what? Some people might have enough confidence in themselves that their diet could be 100%. How do you feel? How do you perform as an athlete and not care about what you look like? But I'm like most of you. I have vanity. I like to look good because when I look good, it makes me feel better about myself. And so I also think that looking healthy is a reflection of actually being healthy. And that is why our society has been drawn or pulled to the side of looking a certain way, right? But you don't have to look the part if you feel the part. I've always said I feel like I operate better. I'm a better fighter. I have better endurance. I'm better on the mountains at like 10% body fat. If I get really lean, sure, it's cool because I look like I can get down to where I look like a fucking Men's Health cover model, but I don't feel fucking awesome like that. I don't feel awesome at all, and I don't perform at my highest. So it's that balance, right? It's that balance of your physical abilities and performance, and then also incorporating how you look. But I got a lot of people asking me, like, where can I read about the program? What are all the details? Is there articles or is there protocols that I can follow and all this stuff? And it's like, guys, it's eat 3 foods for 40 days. That's it. That's all I did. Don't turn it into something that it's not. It's very fucking simple. Eat 3 foods for 40 days. You're going to get healthier. You're going to, it's not only that you're eating good foods, and I'm a believer in steak. Sean Baker is a friend of mine. The carnivore thing, I believe in. There are people out there that are diehard vegans and believe that animal proteins are bad for you. And there's people that even believe animal proteins are carcinogenic. You believe what you believe, right? I'm 41 and I feel like I'm in some of the best shape of my life. And I don't think the animal proteins are bad for you. When I incorporate those into my diet, I feel better. I perform better. And there's data coming out too to support that. And if you don't follow Sean Baker, do it. He's one of my jiu-jitsu students. But he is an orthopedic surgeon who wrote the book, The Carnivore Diet. And he talks about how you can get all of the nutrients that you need through red meat. And he also talks about how the previous way of thinking that red meat causes inflammation, there's no real science to support that. Now, there's plenty of people that will claim that, but the science just doesn't exist. And what he's doing through his carnivore trials, completely getting people off their diabetes medication, completely turning people's lives around and giving them their health back and getting them off of their blood pressure medication and their diabetes medication, having tremendous success. And I also think a big part of that, and he said this too, is like, not only is meat nutritious, but if you go on an elimination diet and that's all you eat, look at all the bullshit you're cutting out. You're not eating Doritos. You're not drinking soda. You're not eating pieces of fucking candy and all the bullshit that we just perpetually put down our fucking necks. And so I completed the 40 days. I got lean. I felt good. I looked good. And then I went to Mexico and I undid. And this was the plan the whole time, because day 40 was our last day here. On day 41, we were flying out that morning. And so that was the plan. I'm gonna get lean. I'm gonna diet. I'm gonna be disciplined. Then I'm gonna go to Mexico and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. And I did. But I'm back now, and now I'm on phase 2. 40 more days of those same 3 foods, except I craved almonds and I craved avocado. I craved those 2 things a lot on my diet. And because I did, I added them in. So now it's 5 foods for 40 days. The other little thing that I've added on is 1 cheat meal a week. The first 40 days, 0 cheats. Discipline, day in and day out. But the next 40, I am going to allow 1 cheat meal a week. And it's not a cheat day. It is 1 meal from Sunday to Sunday that I can plan anywhere I want based on if there's a birthday, if my friends want to go out for a dinner, whatever it is, right? Give yourself that 1 cheat meal. And I've even talked to a good buddy of mine, Gordon Myko. He's been on the show. He was a bodybuilder. He was a professional coach. very dialed in the world of nutrition. And he said one cheat meal a week will actually increase your gains because it ramps up your metabolism. You get a bunch of food that you're not normally getting, probably going to spike your insulin, have some carbohydrates. Boom. Then you're right back to what you were eating, steaks and avocado. And so, yeah, I'll let you know, but I'm excited. I just like challenging myself, new things, and kind of seeing what I can figure out about myself. And I did that with this challenge and it fucking worked. And that's what you need to do. I'm not here to tell people go eat steaks and apples. If you're a vegan, you're a vegan. If you're carnivore, you're carnivore. I'm not here to say what's right or what's wrong, but I do think we can all become better versions of ourselves. And that's what compelled me to do that in the first place. It was fucking awesome. I'm also not going to cut out coffee or marijuana this time because I fucking miss those two things. And 40 days away from it, that was enough. A couple other things. The property that I'm finally moving forward on. I've been dealing with this property for over a year now. And the reason that I bring this up is because I think it's important to tell people to go out there and chase your dreams and do things that go against the grain. Even when everyone else is saying, you're fucking crazy, what are you doing? I'm not sure I would do that. It seems like no matter what you do in life, there are going to be naysayers that want to put you down and not even put you down in a manner like trying to make you feel bad. It's almost a subconscious thing. They see you trying to do something extraordinary. And when people see you trying to do extraordinary things, a lot of their default response is to poo-poo on it. And I don't even know if it's conscious. I think it's simply because when people see other human beings doing things that they are not willing to do themselves, they don't want to look in the mirror and be like, man, where's my fucking courage? Why can't I go out there and fucking make shit happen? So their default is, he's fucking crazy. He's gonna get stuck in a legal battle. It's never gonna work out. He's gonna lose a bunch of money. That's the narrative they tell themselves. Why? Because that keeps you comfortable. That makes you feel comfortable in your little bubble where you make $85,000 a year and you get decent benefits and you sacrifice 50 hours of your life. And then in return, you get this much money. Stepping outside of that might be a little uncomfortable though. But just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean it should fucking scare you. Go out there and pursue some things. And if people start saying, bro, I wouldn't fucking do that, that should fucking let you know that you should be doing that. That should let you know that if your actions cause a fear response in other people, you're probably doing something right. And so I've told the story before on the show. I've talked about it because it's been going on, I think before the show even started. But I bought 30 acres out in the mountains and it was landlocked, meaning private property surround the entire thing. I did not have access to it. And before I bought it, I tried to look into some of these issues. Like, well, I would need a driveway. I would need to be able to secure it. I would need a gate. Just some things that seem relatively simple. But when you're talking about somebody else's privately owned piece of property, that's a fucking can of worms. And I ended up saying, you know what? I'm going to buy this anyways, even though I don't have access to it. And I'm going to make this work. I'm going to see where this goes. I'm going to connect. I'm going to get in contact with the right people. I'm going to have meetings. I'm going to provide incentives. I'm going to try and purchase an easement, like all these things, right? And it took fucking 8 months of phone calls and meetings and lawyers and proposals. And it wasn't easy. But last week I got my fucking easement granted. I got it granted. I got it recorded with the county, and it's an irrevocable easement, and I paid for it, and it's mine. And now I have a driveway, and it's a 1.5 mile driveway from the public road all the way to my property, and it's done. And man, I had people come to me and be like, dude, you fucking did it. That's crazy. I thought you were crazy. And I did it with my business partner. Me and my buddy went in on this together. And him and I were out there yesterday cutting trees down, trying to clear the driveway and make it passable for just a regular passenger vehicle, which we did. We drove out there in our truck for the first time on Saturday, and it was fucking awesome. But it was funny because we were in his truck driving out there, and he goes, you know how many people told me that I'm crazy and that I should have never done this? And here we are now. And the day that the driveway became legal and recorded, the property value fucking skyrocketed. And so, not that I plan on selling this. This is my go to war fucking lifelong sanctuary that I'm going to build out there. It's on a river. It is an easily defendable piece of terrain. It's a ranger's dream come true. I got high ground. I got cliffs. I got backdrops. And you know what? I don't fucking care if we ever do go into a post-apocalyptic America. If this place, or if this country turns itself around and things are awesome, this piece of property will enrich my life forever. Or if things go to shit, well, it might be nice to have. And so that's where I'm at on that. But people need to understand that in order for things to happen to you that better your life and that take your life in a positive trajectory, you have to be willing to risk stuff. You have to be willing to have confrontation. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And going into this, I knew I was in for a fight. And I fucking hate legal battles. I hate them. But I told myself, I'm going to try and be detached emotionally. I'm not going to arrive to the point where I was like, fuck you, I want to strangle this motherfucker. No, I'm just going to let the process work, and I'm going to believe that the process will work. I'm going to put the right energy into it, and it did. It worked. And so we need to live unafraid. We need to live uncompromising. We need to live congruent with how we feel and do the things that feel right and invest in the activities and invest in the people that enhance your life. You know, you have to plot out a plan that brings you success either direction this country goes. Because Joe Biden or Donald Trump are not going to fucking save you. You know, and I despise Biden. And I was happy with the trajectory that the country was on under Trump. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying that I wish things were different. And I'm not saying that we can't change it in the next election cycle. But what I'm saying is your own individual success, your own individual journey, your career, the direction you're taking your family, how you're leading your family, how you're a leader in your community. None of that changes based on who the fuck's in office, who's at the top of the fucking political spectrum telling you what to do. None of that changes. You need to go be you to the best of your ability. You need to be a voice. You need to be a leader. You need to give time and energy and resources to the right causes, but not giving your time and your energy and your resources to your own detriment. And I'm seeing that a lot with my friends lately. You do not want to get behind a cause and feel so strongly about it that it is literally destroying your happiness and it's destroying your personal enjoyment. And it's taking a part of your soul and your own free time with your friends and your family. There's a detraction from that just because of how angry you are at everything. Be that voice. I'm going to go speak at a little community event here tomorrow in Machias, Washington at Doc's Tavern. And I'm going to share exactly what I'm sharing right now. Be a leader. Give your time. Give your energy. Donate your resources, but not to your detriment. Because as soon as it's to your detriment, what is it for? We have to be self-serving in this world to a certain degree. And that may be an unpopular thing to say. But when you serve yourself and you prioritize your happiness, you prioritize your wealth, you prioritize your relationships, once you find yourself in a good place, that is when you are best suited to serve your community better or serve your family better. That is when you are best suited to be a leader, not when you're just sitting at home, posting a bunch of fucking memes, being pissed off all the time. That's not what a leader does. So people get focused on being a team. They get focused on being right. We all want that. We all want to be on the winning team. We all want to believe that the conclusions that we've drawn are right. Fauci's fucking evil. Biden's a piece of shit. BLM are fucking terrible fucking human beings. Like, whatever team you're on, we have these conclusions that we've kind of unanimously agreed on. And we want those to be right. But be careful. Be careful about wanting to be right and actually being right. Because the truth might be somewhere in the middle. And I'm not saying that to give people a pass for shitty behavior or lies or being disingenuous. Fuck those people. I hope we string them up someday. I will be there with you when we string these motherfuckers up someday. But what I am saying is our journey shouldn't be being guided because we want to be right. We want to be right. We want to be right. Our journey should be guided solely by seeking truth and seeking righteousness. And sometimes when you seek those two things, it comes with a little bit of humble pie too. We have to be willing to say, I was wrong. We have to be willing to look back and be like, maybe I should have done things differently. Maybe this person isn't who I thought he was. We have to say, everything that I believe right now is subject to change. Everything that I believe right now, I came to this conclusion because of A, B, and C. But now that D, E, and F are available, I've changed my tune a little bit. My perspectives have shifted. It's important. I don't think that the two opposing viewpoints in this country are going to come to some type of unanimous agreement. I don't know if unity is a realistic future for this country. Not if we don't go through some real hard fucking times. I don't know if that's a reality that we can arrive at without going through some fucking treacherous times where you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You don't know where members of your family are at. You don't know if you're ever getting out of this camp. All of those fucking things will probably breed unity in America, but we're not there yet. Right now, we're on two different trains that are driving away from each other. And we will find out what that event will be that starts to bring us back together. But I don't think that there's an event that can take place that can bring us back together that doesn't involve a lot of uncertainty, a lot of horror, and a lot of pain. And I don't say that to scare people because I don't believe in fear. I don't believe in being dictated by fear. I don't believe in allowing fear to have any type of bearing on who we are or what we do or our actions. But I say it because, again, to emphasize that no one is coming to save you. We are arriving at times where your own capabilities are going to be the only thing that separate you from living the life you want versus living the life they want for you. Think about that. The day is coming when your ability to defend yourself, to feed yourself, to provide for yourself and your family and your loved ones, the day is coming where those things will be what determines if you get to choose your own destiny or if they choose your own destiny. You know, all these fucking politically elite motherfuckers, they promise and they promise and they promise. And why do they do that? Because they want us on their team. Everybody wants you on their team. The more numbers they have, the more success they can have, the more they can push their bullshit on you. So you know what? I'm fucking done with their teams. And you should be too. Build your own team. Build your own circle. Build your own tribe. Focus on the things that will enhance the lives of the people around you. And that's what will inevitably enhance your own life. If you were a fucking loser under Trump, you're probably a fucking loser under Biden. And vice versa. So what's your path to success? With your business, with your emotions, with your relationships, with your health. All of that falls on you. So stop pointing the fucking finger. Stop coming up with a million excuses of why you can't do this, why you can't do this, why you can't do that. I get emails all the time from people that say, I don't have any friends. Nobody likes me. How do you have a circle of people that you feel like so strongly about? I don't have that. And this probably isn't the most comfortable thing to hear, but that's your fault. That's your fault because you aren't taking the time to invest in relationships. Investing in a relationship is no different than investing in your health. It takes some discipline. It takes some time. It takes some understanding. It takes some commitment to find the right people, to spend time with them, to share ideas with them, to grow a bond with that person. And then that person becomes those people and that group and that community. And one day you'll look left and right and you'll realize you are surrounded by solid motherfuckers that have your back. But that doesn't just appear overnight. And in my opinion, it doesn't appear in a Facebook group. It doesn't appear in a fucking email strand. I know I'm biased and I say it all the time, but if you want that and you don't have it, go join a jiu-jitsu academy. If you train at that academy for 3 months and you don't feel that vibe, go find another one because that vibe is off. Not all academies are created equal. But you need to go out there and you need to figure out how to take your life in the right direction. Like, I understand that certain steps aren't taken, we may lose everything. I get that. Andy Frisella talks about that often, is that the reason he preaches so much about freedom and liberty is because if we don't take this country back, getting rich, having fancy cars, having hot girlfriends, all the stuff that fucking so many dudes want, it's all for naught, right? I understand that. I agree and I appreciate that headspace. But I truly believe the best way out of this is for us all to collectively live our best lives. Do that while being uncompromising and ungovernable. Be uncompromising and ungovernable. That's easy to say, but it's hard to do. Don't compromise your values for anybody or anything. Don't compromise it for a vaccine. Don't compromise it for a paycheck. Don't compromise it because your fucking governor is telling you to. That's where being ungovernable comes into effect here. When we all collectively stand up for what we know to be true, this ends. You know, you can implement measures to become self-sufficient, to be able to sustain life. And once you've implemented those things, they suddenly no longer have the ability to control you through fear. Once we've taken that ability out of their hands to control us through fear, once you've taken that from them, you are a free fucking man. They can kill you. They can kill your physical body. But until that day, you are a free man. And if everybody does that collectively, we take this country back. I can't base my future on what you might do or what you might fail to do, because I'm only responsible for one motherfucker, and that's me. But if we're all responsible for ourselves and we all hold ourselves to the standards that we should be, the collective problem in this country vanishes today. All right, that's all I got, guys. Hour and 11-minute rant. Went over a bunch of different shit, but it's fun sharing my thoughts with you guys. It's cool getting feedback. It's cool seeing my inbox, interacting with people. I don't look at this platform as me up here telling everybody how to live their lives. I look at this platform as together, a bunch of like-minded people are on this endless endeavor, this journey of life. I just happen to be the one that got a mic and built a little bit of a platform, but I like interacting with you guys. Share your thoughts, share this episode. Write me questions, gregandersonpodcast@gmail.com. Let's stay connected. Let's figure out better ways to move forward. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time.